My daughter is sleeping here. Seriously, lady, don't call in the middle of the night. Shouted in a drunken voice was the woman who is my son's remarriage partner. What on earth is going on? My granddaughter, in tatters, is standing right in front of me. What's going on? What's happening? Confused, I asked, and my granddaughter replied.
I think her phone is still on. Grandma, let's go to Mom's place.
Maria Keaton, pseudonym, 60 years old's experience. My name is Maria Keaton, 60 years old. I work part-time as a cashier at a supermarket. My husband passed away a year ago. It was cancer. By the time it was discovered, it had already metastasized throughout his body, and it didn't last long. He worked hard until nearing retirement, looking forward to a peaceful life with just the two of us, but at the time of my husband's death, I was sinking in sorrow, but with encouragement from family and work colleagues, I finally started to regain my strength. I have a son named Asher and a granddaughter named Natalia. Asher got married when he was 25 and had Natalia with his wife at the time. However, 5 years later, his wife passed away in a traffic accident. Holding Natalia, who longed for her mother, and without time to dwell in grief, Asher struggled alone with work and childcare. My husband and I supported our son desperately in every aspect, from daily life to finances, and cherished Natalia as if she were our own daughter. That's why, even with a modest pension and part-time job income, I have been saving a little money every month, hoping it would be useful for Natalia's future. There's not much an aging person like me can do. Money is always helpful. One holiday, I was busy running around from the morning. Today, Asher was bringing the woman he's dating to our house. A while ago, he consulted with me about remarrying. The woman in question is a coworker from Asher's company, working as a temporary staff member and 2 years older. They became friends through work, and their relationship developed. When Asher told me about the marriage, my biggest concern was Natalia. It's been 5 years since her mother passed away, but Natalia is only 10. Will she accept her father's remarriage during such a sensitive period? Yet, I can't tell Asher not to remarry. As a mother, I want my son to find happiness once again. He's been struggling alone for so long. The doorbell rang, and Asher and his girlfriend arrived. I invited them into the house and was formally introduced. Her name is Michaela. With brightly colored hair, pink nails, a miniskirt, and looks surprisingly flashy for someone in her late 30s. Moreover, her gestures involved a lot of endearing body touches, and she constantly looked at me with a sweet gaze. Asher said it's okay for me to quit my job. I'll do my best to become a good wife. While saying this flirtatiously, she leaned on Asher. Despite my presence, she seemed oblivious to her surroundings, giving me the impression of not paying attention. However, Asher seemed to understand my feelings as he said,
Michaela may look like this, but she's actually good at homemaking. I've introduced her to Natalia many times, and she has cooked meals and gone out together with us.
I'm so happy to have a cute girl like Natalia as a daughter. I want us to get along well. That's what I'm thinking. That's good. Michaela, please take care of Asher and Natalia. If you have any trouble, feel free to consult with me anytime. I smiled and bowed sincerely. I felt relieved from the bottom of my heart. If Natalia is attached to her, then it's reassuring. She must be a reliable and kind woman beneath her flashy appearance. I watched them leave, praying for Asher and Natalia's happiness. After a while, Asher and Michaela got married. Natalia showed a smiling face at the wedding venue. There was even a scene of her handing flowers to her stepmother, Michaela. Now I can relax. That's what I thought, but it was short-lived. Afterward, Michaela, for some reason, frequently visited our house. Her purpose was money. She asked for financial assistance to buy furniture and home appliances for her livelihood. Furniture and home appliances should already be in place, right? Why do you need to buy new ones? Well, it's because those are the things Asher's ex-wife used, you know? I don't want to use things from his ex-wife. I suggested moving to a new house, but Natalia really didn't want to. Of course not. For Natalia, that house is a place filled with memories of her mother. I understand your feelings, but please think more about Natalia. She's only 10 years old. Since you married a man with a child, you should be prepared for that. With annoyance and anger, I directed my words at her, and Michaela began to cry, lying face down on the desk. You liar. You said I could consult you about anything. Asher always prioritizes Natalia's feelings, and nobody thinks about me. She cried loudly, continuing to wail. Furthermore, she said, I'm doing my best not to stress Natalia because I want to get along with her. Why don't you understand? I feel like I'm going to die from the stress of raising a stepchild. Now of all times. I sighed deeply, holding my head in my hands. What were the words she said before they got married? Who is the real liar? But I didn't want her to harbor negative feelings toward Natalia. If Natalia admires Michaela, I want her to treat her like a real mother. All right, I understand. I'll provide the money. But promise me. Please don't throw away anything that Asher and Natalia like. I understand your feelings, but please, I beg you. If you're stressed, let me know, and I'll help you release it. As expected of you. Thank you so much. She quickly changed her attitude, put on a big smile, took the money, and left. It became a sudden expense, but if it allows Natalia to live comfortably, it's a small price to pay. Thinking that, I keenly felt that my own thoughts were too naive. Michaela's begging for money continued afterward. Under the pretext of stress, she requested this and that, and even demanded money for Natalia's expenses. Asher should be receiving a decent salary. My feelings towards Natalia were completely exploited. However, whenever Natalia was used as an excuse, I couldn't say anything. Finally, I couldn't afford to give money with just my part-time job, and I ended up in the situation of having to take on additional jobs and accumulate debts. Fortunately, after a while, Michaela's begging for money calmed down. I somehow managed to cut back on my expenses and repay the borrowed amount. It's better to repay debts, especially those with accumulating interest, as soon as possible. I led busy days, and the season turned to midwinter. Both my son's family and I live in an area where heavy snowfall is common, and when winter comes, shoveling snow becomes necessary. When my husband was alive, we used to shovel snow together in the morning. Thinking about that, I spent my days shoveling snow alone. One night on such a day, while sleeping alone, suddenly there was a loud banging on the front door. I hurriedly woke up. It was midnight. Who on earth could it be? Nervously standing in front of the door, I heard a feeble voice from outside.
Grandma. It's Natalia.
Eh? Natalia. I quickly opened the door, and there was Natalia, barely standing, having finally made it to the door. Her clothes were torn in various places and tattered, and her feet. She was barefoot. Why? On such a snowy day, why would she walk in a blizzard in such a condition? I held my head in confusion. But now was not the time for that. I quickly brought Natalia into the house and prepared a warm bath. Natalia's lips, which had turned purple, and her face, which had turned icy blue from the cold, seemed to have calmed down somehow, and I felt relieved from the bottom of my heart. It was 2 a.m., Midnight. While watching Natalia drink hot milk from the side, I called Michaela's phone. Asher has been away on a business trip since yesterday. He had asked me to help if anything happened. Hello? Michaela, who answered the phone, spoke cheerfully, but she seemed to be drunk, with her words not coming out clearly. Michaela? It's me. Where are you now? What have you done to Natalia? Oh. It's you, old lady. Annoying. I heard a sigh on the other end of the phone. Then I heard her giggling and laughing with someone else. It seemed like she was with someone else. Just answer properly. Where are you? What are you doing? Leaving Natalia? Do you know what condition Natalia is in? You're so annoying. She's sleeping next to me. And, lady, do you know the word inconsiderate? Don't call in the middle of the night. It's irritating. After a series of insults, she unilaterally hung up the phone. I was speechless, holding my head. What's going on? What on earth is happening? Natalia, undoubtedly, came to me for help in her tattered state.
Grandma.
In the midst of confusion, Natalia gently spoke to me. Unlike the pale expression from earlier, her complexion had returned, and she continued.
I think her phone is still on. I know where she is. Grandma, let's go to Mom's place together.
Eh? I couldn't understand what she was saying. Natalia began to explain everything that happened, from the time Asher and Michaela got remarried to what happened this time. Michaela had been kind to Natalia only at first. As Asher got busier with work, her true nature began to show. Surprisingly, Michaela started engaging in infidelity, taking advantage of the times when Asher wasn't around. Desperate to dress up and go out, she even stopped making meals for Natalia. One day, while Natalia was returning from school, she encountered Michaela walking arm in arm with a young man. It seems she witnessed an affair. After being seen in the act of cheating, she later abused Natalia at home. Then, she forced Natalia to promise not to disclose anything and threatened her, saying that if she told anyone, she would face severe consequences. Afterward, without any reservation, Michaela began staying overnight at the man's house whenever Asher was on a business trip. There were times when she even brought her lover to their home, at the worst moments. Even today, when Asher was on a business trip, she hadn't returned after staying overnight at the man's house. Natalia, who returned from school, should have opened the door herself as usual, but it seems she noticed that she had lost her keys. In the heavy snow, desperately searching for the keys, her worn-out shoes got stuck in frozen ice and became impossible to remove. She reluctantly went barefoot, tore her clothes to wrap around her feet, and came to me seeking help. This was the truth behind Natalia coming to me in such a tattered state. Natalia's feet, dangerously discolored in purple, regained sensation thanks to warm water, massage, and wound treatment. Hearing such a terrible truth, I sat down with dizziness. That such a thing had happened without my knowledge.
I was scared of my mom. But I couldn't forgive her for betraying Dad, so I secretly installed a GPS on Mom's smartphone. That's how I know her location. Grandma, let's punish my mom.
Natalia, I understand. Leave the rest to Grandma. You did well on your own. While saying this with tears, I hugged my granddaughter. Natalia is strong, but she's still a child. To subject such a cute child to such cruelty, I absolutely won't forgive it. Somehow, the blizzard outside had subsided. I immediately called Asher, who was on a business trip. He was surprised because it was a midnight call. After explaining the situation, he was shocked and agreed to come back immediately. I also called Michaela's parents. They seemed equally shocked as Asher but understood the seriousness of the situation and said they would come over immediately. I put Natalia to sleep in a warm blanket and waited for everyone to gather. A few hours later, Michaela's parents arrived first. As soon as we met, the couple apologized repeatedly. It seemed they had taken the severity of Natalia being in danger seriously. Soon after, Asher returned safely. Seeing Natalia sleeping peacefully, he collapsed to his knees, relieved, shedding tears. As the outside became bright, and Natalia, having had a good rest, woke up. We headed to Michaela's place using the GPS Natalia had prepared. The GPS indicated an apartment located away from where my son's family lived. Fortunately, there were hardly any residents, and we managed to identify the room where Michaela and her lover were. With determination, I rang the doorbell. Yes. Michaela, who responded with a foolish voice, opened the door. Huh? What's going on? She, along with Asher, Natalia, and her parents, was shocked to see all of us. She tried to close the door in a hurry, her eyes flickering, but... Don't run away, okay? Let's talk. I quickly stepped in. Although I endured intense pain as the door closed on me, I managed to smile broadly. Let go. Get out.
Hey, Michaela, what's going on? Open this.
Yeah, talk. After a heated argument, she reluctantly opened the door. A young man with a cigarette in his mouth came out from inside.
Hey, I'll call the police for trespassing.
Fine. But your affair will be exposed too. And you, Michaela, were abusing my precious granddaughter. Let's call the police and reveal everything.
Ugh, it's none of my business.
He said disdainfully and threw Michaela's belongings at her. What are you doing?
Don't drag me into trouble. It's over between us. Take that and get out. Never come back.
With those words, Michaela was left alone, and the door was closed. She sat down, staring at the door in a daze. Although it was irritating to see the cheating partner quickly escape and act indifferent, now the priority was to confront Michaela. Putting her in the car and moving to another location, we confronted Michaela again. Whether she resigned or not, she began to explain tearfully. She, who loved playing around with men, couldn't stop even after marriage. She continued, spending the money Asher earned. It seems all the money she begged from me with various excuses was to cover the expenses she incurred. Asher, of course, furious, declared a divorce without demanding alimony. No, please forgive me. I promise I won't cheat again. Asher looked at her crying and pleading with disdain. Michaela's parents, with embarrassed faces, apologized multiple times.
Really, I'm sorry. I don't know how to apologize. This foolish daughter not only betrays Asher but also exposes Natalia to danger through abuse. Please hand her over to the police or anyone who will punish her. We sincerely accept the consequences and will make amends.
While staring at the weeping Michaela, they deeply bowed their heads. Feeling awkward, I looked at Natalia. Seeing her granddaughter with a strong character, she looked straight at us.
I don't care about the police or anything. I'm not bothered.
Upon hearing those words, Michaela lifted her head with a smile full of gratitude. Thank you, Natalia. You forgive me, right? I'll change my ways. Let's live happily together.
Huh? Are you stupid? That won't happen. Promise that you won't appear in front of us again. If you promise, you don't need to call the police. Because I don't want to think about you at all from now on.
Natalia looked down on her stepmother with a cold look and tone. The hopeful expression on Michaela's face turned into despair in an instant, and she never made excuses afterward. Soon after, Asher and Michaela's divorce was finalized. Asher had no intention of demanding alimony, but Michaela's parents handed over a sum as compensation, hoping it would be used as savings for Natalia. Asher, who came back with Natalia to report, expressed his remorse and apologies to me. Despite being a father, he hadn't noticed the danger his daughter was in. From now on, he wanted to reflect and prioritize Natalia.
Dad, you know, I didn't really want anyone other than my mom, who passed away, to marry. But because I love you, I'll support you if you find someone you like. However, choose someone who won't make you sad. Promise?
Yeah, got it.
Looking at the smiling son and granddaughter, I felt truly relieved. Asher and Natalia had struggled together for a long time. I sincerely wished them happiness. How was this story? Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video.